In a vast desert, under the endless expanse of blue sky, the people of Israel stood poised on the edge of a new beginning. The sun warmed their faces, but their hearts carried a mix of hope and uncertainty. They had wandered for 40 long years, a generation shaped by struggle and survival. The land of Canaan lay just ahead, promised to them by the God who had led them out of Egypt. Moses, their beloved leader, stood before them. With age carved into his features and wisdom shining in his eyes, he was about to deliver his final words. His voice, though strong, bore the weight of a man who had seen much: the miracles, the rebellion, the moments of doubt and faith. This was a moment of preparation, a pivotal time for the Israelites before they crossed into the land flowing with milk and honey. Moses opened his heart, recalling their journey. He began by reminding them of the covenant God had made with their forefathers. "Remember, you were chosen," he urged. "You are a holy people, set apart to love and serve the Lord." His words were a call to remember their identity, rooted not in themselves but in God's faithfulness. As Moses spoke, he recalled the time they stood at the foot of Mount Sinai. God had descended in fire and smoke, giving them the law. The commandments were not merely rules but a guide to living in a way that honored God and brought order to their community. "You are to love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, and strength," he reminded them. This foundational commandment would be the compass for their lives ahead. The first moral lesson was clear. Our identity in God shapes how we live. Remembering who we are helps us stay true to our purpose. As they prepared to enter the land, Moses recounted the 12 spies sent to scout Canaan. When they returned, 10 spoke of giants and fortified cities, sowing fear among the people. Only Joshua and Caleb trusted in God's promises. "Do not be afraid," Moses urged. "The Lord goes before you." The second lesson echoed in their hearts. Fear can cloud our vision and lead us astray. Trusting in God's promises, even in the face of uncertainty, is crucial for moving forward. The Israelites had wandered for years because of their lack of faith. Moses reminded them of their rebellion, their grumbling, and the golden calf they had crafted in their disobedience. Yet, despite their failures, God remained steadfast. He provided manna from heaven and water from rocks, teaching them reliance on His goodness. Moses spoke of the importance of obedience. "If you obey the commands of the Lord," he said, "you will be blessed in the land." He painted a picture of a prosperous future filled with abundant harvests and overflowing blessings. But beware, he warned. If you forget the Lord, if you turn to idols, you will face consequences. Obedience brings blessings, but straying from God leads to hardship. This was a truth they needed to grasp as they stepped into the unknown. Moses then addressed the laws God had given. They were more than rules, they were life-giving principles meant to foster justice, compassion, and community. "Love your neighbor as yourself," he urged. He described the importance of caring for the poor, the widow, and the orphan. "In this land, you are to be a light to the nations," he said. The lesson here was profound. Our actions matter. The way we treat others reflects our understanding of God's love. As he continued, Moses reminded them of the festivals and feasts, times of celebration that would bind them together in remembrance. They were not to forget the Exodus each year during Passover. It was a moment to recount God's deliverance and salvation. "Teach these things to your children," he insisted. "Let them know the stories of our faith, the wonders God has done." A community rooted in remembrance fosters strong faith. Sharing our stories builds a legacy for future generations. Then, Moses warned of the dangers that lay ahead. The nations they would encounter worshipped false gods. "Do not be tempted," he cautioned. "You are to remain faithful to the Lord your God." He urged them to carefully guard their hearts and to remain true to the covenant. As they stood on the brink of this new land, Moses urged them to choose life. "I set before you today blessing and curse, life and death," he declared. "Choose life, that you and your children may live." The choice was theirs. They could either embrace the promises of God or risk wandering away from His grace. The importance of choice is central to our faith. Every day, we are faced with decisions that shape our lives and our communities. Moses' words flowed like a river, rich with wisdom and experience. He reminded them of God's faithfulness, recounting the victories over their enemies and the miracles that sustained them. He called for unity, urging them to stand together as one nation under God. "You are not just families, you are a people chosen by God." In a poignant moment, Moses reminded them of their future leaders and the roles they would play. He spoke of Joshua, who would lead them after he was gone. With a heart full of love, Moses commissioned Joshua, encouraging him to be strong and courageous. "The Lord will be with you," he assured him. In this, we see the beauty of mentorship and leadership. The next generation needs guidance and support. It is a reminder that we are called to lift one another up. As Moses neared the end of his speech, he laid out blessings for obedience and curses for disobedience. Their choices would directly affect their lives in the land. He painted vivid images of both futures. "Choose blessings," he urged. "Make choices that honor God and reflect His love." The moral lesson here is stark. Our choices carry weight. They shape our lives and the lives of those around us. After sharing these truths, Moses gathered the people to renew their covenant with God. He urged them to write the words of the law on their hearts and to bind them to their hands. "Teach them diligently to your children," he said. He knew that their relationship with God required intentionality. Faith is not merely a Sunday affair, it is a daily walk, a commitment to live according to His ways. As Moses concluded his final address, he climbed the peak of Mount Nebo to gaze upon the Promised Land. There it lay, lush, vibrant, and filled with promise. Yet, he knew he would not enter it. A deep sadness filled his heart, but he remained steadfast in faith. He had led them to the brink, and now they would step forward without him. Moses prayed, lifting his heart to God in gratitude for the journey they had shared. He entrusted the people to the Lord, knowing that God would be with them in every step. In this poignant moment, we see the beauty of selflessness. Leadership sometimes means letting go, trusting that God will continue the work He has begun. As the Israelites prepared to enter Canaan, they took with them the words of their leader, the lessons of faith, obedience, and love. They had a choice, a promise, and a covenant with their God. In reflection, the book of Deuteronomy teaches us invaluable lessons. It invites us to remember our identity as children of God. It challenges us to choose life and blessings over death and curse. It calls us to share our faith, to mentor one another, and to remain steadfast in our commitment to God's ways. Today, we also stand at the edge of our own journeys. We can learn from the Israelites, taking to heart the importance of faithfulness, community, and the power of choice. God's faithfulness remains unchanging, and He invites us to trust in His promises. Just as He led His people into the Promised Land, He leads us toward abundant life in Him. In every decision we face, may we remember to choose His path, embrace His love, and reflect His light to the world around us.